2026 is already shaping up to be a massive year for gamers across all platforms. We're finally likely to see the release of GTA 6 and finally an end to the "we got this before GTA 6" memes, as well as other massive franchises like Marvel's Wolverine and a new game in 007 First Light coming out. There's loads of stuff to be excited about. But for me personally, it's the RPG offerings in 2026 that have got me really looking forward to getting my hands on my controller this year. 2025 was absolutely no slouch, with Game Awards sweeper Claire Obscure Expedition 33 taking all of the plaudits, and rightly so, and genuinely one of my favourite games of all time, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, coming out last year. Man, that was an absolute game changer. But with the stacked RPG roster of 2026, could we be in for an even better year for RPG fans? Yes guys, welcome to VG Vault, a video game channel, and today we're going to look at 10 RPGs coming out in 2026 that have really got me excited. And to kick it off, we're going to start with Avowed, which is already out on Xbox and Steam, but it's coming to the PlayStation on February the 17th. Now, this is a personal list of things that I'm really looking forward to playing, but I will be completely honest, the already existing reviews for Avowed aren't exactly stellar. It seemed like maybe it was not quite as big and expansive and bombastic as people had originally hoped. Developed by industry heavyweight Obsidian, who you might well know for outings such as Fallout New Vegas and the Outer World series. So look man, I'm just a massive sucker for RPGs in general, right? And I do not think that Avowed is going to set the world alight. I think it's probably going to be a 6 or 7 out of 10, but I am actually looking forward to it. Say what you want about Obsidian, but they are generally really good with writing, narrative, moral ambiguity, giving you choices and creating beautiful, expansive worlds. And Avowed, for the most part, looks no different. One of the larger criticisms leveled at Avowed is that it doesn't really look anything like its original game trailer, which seemed to offer a much dark, grittier take on the idea, and they generally seem to have brightened things up since then. But there's loads of reasons that I think Avowed looks really good. I think it looks very fluid, right? Like in terms of a Skyrim-like, which is ultimately what we're talking about here. The combat looks fast, pacey, dynamic. I like I'm not normally a big magic guy when it comes to these games, but I like the fact that there's different ways about it. I like the fact that you can use books to like power up your spells. There's wands, not even just the magic stuff, like there's guns in it as well. There's your classic swords, shields, heavy weapons, all of that kind of stuff. So what I love in games like this, especially where you can create characters, is playing them through multiple times with different builds, and Avowed 100% looks like it's going to deliver on that. Again, another criticism I've heard is that the world is maybe not quite as in-depth and interactive as some of the other games in this genre, i.e. Skyrim, for instance. So for example, apparently there's nothing in the way of like you can't kill NPCs, and there's no like crime system or anything like that. And ultimately with these really big open world RPGs, it is the subtle little details that take it from being a good game to a great game. But I expect Avowed to be a good game. Like I say man, I've seen all the trailers, I've watched reviews obviously because the game is already out. The gameplay looks good, the combat looks fun, the character creator looks good. I love the fact that there's a third and first person camera angle. I am more of a third person guy in general, do you know what I mean? So the Outer Worlds 2, for instance, I have played quite a lot of that and I really like it, and I spend almost all of my time in third person. It's not just as simple as changing the camera perspective either. You've seen it with a few games. Making a good third person and first person camera avatar, did this quite recently, is a hard thing to do, and by the looks of it, they've implemented it really well. So I will definitely be going for my general stealth archer build as I do in these kind of games to begin with. But ultimately, I'm excited to see what else I can pick up, and I think it looks like I say, for me, a good 6 or 7 out of 10. Yes, not absolutely bombastic, world-changing game, but something that I'm going to put some hours into and have a good time. Number 9 is a bit of a weird one. It is Greedfall 2, The Dying World. So this game is coming out on March 12th on PS5, Xbox and PC, and is currently in early access on Steam. Developed by a company called Spiders, better maybe known, and I say better known, they're not a massively known company, but if you know them, then you will probably have played something like The Technomancer, which I actually thought was a great game, or you might have had a terrible time like I did with something like Bound by Flame. Those two aside, I played the first Greedfall game, and it was really good, man, so these are like a B-rated developer, do you know what I mean? They make kind of B-rated games, and ultimately, they're not ever going to be punching up there with your Witchers and your Skyrims and anything else like that. But if you just like a good fun time from a developer that isn't quite so shackled to what's happening in the gaming industry, they don't really take too much into consideration. Oh, Elden Ring's done really well, so we're going to do loads of stuff like that, or The Witcher's done really well, so we're going to do loads of stuff like that. They generally have their own way of doing games. And although their quality has never been top tier, they definitely are improving. Greedfall in itself was a good game, and this one looks to be good as well. I really like how they've approached this game as well. It's actually set before Greedfall, so although it is a sequel, it's actually kind of a prequel. And instead of playing the negotiator from the capital, you're actually playing one of the natives in this one. And instead of starting in the more modern civilized place and going over to the wild, you start in the wilds and end up finding your way into the more modern society. So they've really reversed the gameplay in this one. And ultimately, it was a strange game. Spiders games are always strange games, but it does look like it's going to be fun. The graphics, definitely a massive upgrade. The combat had some interesting options. It had this, like, you know, it's got your standard kind of action third-person combat, but it also has this stop-time tactical thing going on, a little bit like Dragon Age Inquisition if you ever played that. The game's heavily centered around party members, building relationships, and actually politics, which is something like, it's a weird one, isn't it? It doesn't sound super fun, does it? Oh, I'll go and negotiate with these people, but it really is, man, because the decisions you make affect what happens in the world, and they implemented this fairly well in Greedfall 1. That came out, it must be like 5-6 years ago, maybe 7 now. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with a good core idea like they had with Greedfall, but with more modern mechanics and graphics engines, and hopefully a lot of upgrades in their combat. Moving on to number 8, and it's the Gothic remake. So I'm going to level, I didn't play the original games, right? And that is one of the reasons why this game is on my list. I've seen a lot of Gothic faithful fans on the internet who have played the demo for the Gothic remake saying, they've changed this, they've changed that, they don't really like the direction that it's going in. But having played the demo myself, I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to diving into the world. So as far as development goes, Gothic remake's actually got a reasonably interesting story. Alchemia Interactive are actually developing this game, and they were a studio based in Barcelona, Spain, and they were specifically established for this project by publisher THQ Nordic. I love me a big in-depth gritty RPG. I don't think, like, based on what I'd played from it already, ultimately the demo was really short. It was only like an hour, but the combat looks really interesting. It's got a huge amount of customization options. The story is supposed to be really good. Like the original Gothic is a cult classic, and I'm a little bit disappointed I missed out on it. Yes, I could go back and play it now, but I suffer a little bit from not just being able to dive right back into old games that I didn't play before. If I don't have the nostalgia factor there and they feel pretty dated, I really struggle to get into them. So I'll be taking this opportunity with Gothic when it comes out, which has been slated as early 2026 so far, to dive into the world for the first time and see what it's got to offer. Bit weird though, it's already early 2026 and there's no release date yet, so I guess we'll have to see about that one. Number 7 is a really interesting one. It's a game called Beast of Reincarnation. It is being developed by Game Freak, the Pokemon guys, right? Every now and again, like once every 5 years or something, Game Freak get let off their leash of you know, just being whipped to make Pokemon games, and are allowed to kind of develop their own game. So Beast of Reincarnation is a really nice looking game, man. It kind of pulls what looks like a few different ideas together. It's not the most original looking game you've ever seen in your life. It seems to be a reasonably linear action RPG based in a post-apocalyptic world where the blight has taken over everything, and the blight is like plants that have basically taken over the world, and you know, it's all just a bit of a mess. Aesthetically, I get a weird mix of stuff from this game. I get a little bit of The Last of Us in the way, by the looks of it, and we haven't seen that much yet, but in the way that the game's presented, it looks like it's going to be that quite linear narrative that moves on, rather than having a big sprawling open world that you're going to get to check out every nook and cranny of. And I also am getting this kind of weird Princess Mononoke vibe from it as well, which I really like, but obviously with a more modern edge. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's going to be lots of modern derelict buildings and that kind of stuff. The combat looks good, so it's obviously taken a little bit of flavour from Souls-likes as well, with big bombastic boss battles, and the gameplay itself by the developers has been described as one girl, one dog action gameplay. So I'm really looking forward to see what Game Freak have got for us this time. Bearing in mind their releases outside of Pokemon normally go really under the radar, this one has made a bit of a splash. Interestingly, it's slated to come out on PS5, Xbox and PC, but as of yet, no word of the Switch 2. Number 6, Onimusha Way of the Sword. And mate, this one takes me back. I used to play Onimusha on the PS2. I was not good at it. But I just love the aesthetic. I really like the game. And I used to try my absolute hardest to battle my way through the yokai and the demons. And it was just, man, cameras were just such a, like, action games just weren't that good on the PS2 when you compare to like what we're used to now and how dynamic they were. But Onimusha was one of those games, being it's developed by Capcom, had that Resident Evil style camera, the old school one where you'd go into a room or a new place and the camera would change, and that's just kind of what you were stuck with and you had no control over it. Really struggled with that. But Onimusha Way of the Sword looks absolutely sweet. Again, probably not going to be a big open world RPG, which I'll lament a little bit because I do think that this game would be particularly good if you were able to explore it a bit more. But what they have 100% doubled down on is the sword combat, man. The sword combat looks absolutely amazing in this game. Another Souls inspired. I don't even like using the word Souls like anymore, man. It's just become almost like a dirty word at this point, hasn't it? But it's definitely got some very considered dynamic combat that's not just going to be about button mashing, being flashy and fast. It's, 100% you're going to have to take your time with it. You're going to have to learn the mechanics. But the graphics look absolutely stunning. Onimusha has always been a wicked set of games, and it's mad that it's even come back, to be honest, but I'm really, really looking forward to this one. Next up, we've got Phantom Blade Zero. This game looks cool, man. This game looks really cool. It's developed by a company called S Games, who are not massively well known, truth be told. They've done a series of games called Rainblood, which is a 2D action game, and they've done a game called Phantom Blade X, which I assume is set in the same world, which was like a mobile game, and again, that was like a 2D action game. Phantom Blade Zero is a semi-open world action RPG with stunning graphics, absolutely awesome, visceral looking combat, loads to explore. It's got that dark sort of edge to it, and it reminds me a little bit of Neo, but it looks a lot better than that, truth be told, and a bit less coded in the whole Souls-like genre. S Games are a Chinese developer, and it seems to be their first foray into making this massive kind of game, but it does look really, really good. It's slated to come out on PS5 and PC on September the 9th this year, and if I've managed to get through all of the other RPGs that are coming out this year, then I will really, really like to give it a go. Number 4, it's Fable, and I'm really glad I could put this on this list because I don't have an Xbox and I've got a Mac, so not really the ultimate gaming machine, but they are putting it on PlayStation this time. I played quite a lot of Fable 1, probably more than half of Fable 1, and I dived into the other two a little bit. What I love about Fable, that you just don't really get in a huge amount of games, is how in-depth the world was, man. It's absolutely crazy. The myriad different styles of combat, the big thing for me, and it's a silly thing maybe, being able to buy every single building you come across, and the new Fable game has leaned into that massively. This game was actually announced a few years ago, and by the looks of it, recently has undergone a bit of a facelift. Now look, I was excited for this game when it came out anyway, like, I'm not too bothered about the whole, like, what does the lead character look like? I thought the game looked cool. At the end of the day, what I will say is I would much rather create my own character in one of these kind of games for the most part. In these big open world games with lots of choices and stuff, I'd 100% prefer to be able to create my own character. It didn't look like that's what you were going to be able to do initially, but it does look like that's what you're going to be able to do now. And the depth of this game just looks absolutely wild, man. I love that Richard Ayoade's in it as well. That's awesome. He's a great actor. So in this game, they are really doubling down on the landlord simulator element of it, and it looks so good, man. Like I say, I really love to feel connected to the world, and the thing is, with a good game, this is one thing I really like about games like Skyrim and Kingdom Come 2, when a game developer makes a game based on the idea that as a gamer, you're probably going to ask the question, can I do this? And as much as possible, if the answer is yes, that is what makes a good game. It is in the tiny details at the end of the day. You're probably not going to house every single NPC in this game. There's 1,000 NPCs in this game that you can marry as well, by the way, which is absolutely nuts. So it just showed you the level of depth they've gone to. A great game for me is normally typified by being able to play it in my own way and feel like I did my own version of the game, right? Like I say, Skyrim was really good for that. Kingdom Come was absolutely fantastic for that. And these games are so huge and so depthy, the chances of you actually doing everything are very, very slim, but that's probably not what it's going to be about. Having so many options for the playstyle you want, the clothes that you can wear, the businesses and buildings that you can buy, and in the case of Fable, the NPCs that you can house, marry, and make homeless. You're never going to do all of those things in a game, but the fact that there are so many options normally means that your playthrough is going to be really specific to you, and in particular, that's something I'm really excited about with Fable. Right, we are down to the final 3. 1 and 2 in particular is the most difficult decision I'm probably going to have to make this year. But before we do that, we're going to get into number 3, and it's Blood of the Dawnwalker. Blood of the Dawnwalker came basically out of nowhere and just looks phenomenal. So it's being developed by a company called Rebel Wolves, and they are a new company that's headed by one of the directors from The Witcher 3 for CD Projekt Red. And although this game has a lot of its own stuff going on for it, don't get me wrong, there is definitely lots and lots of Witcher 3 flavour in this game. So it hits you instantly with an interesting concept. The main character is half human, half vampire. During the day, you're a human. During the night, you're a vampire. This game, it is going to be like an open world, semi-open world kind of game, but by the sounds of it, it's not going to be a 130-hour sprawling game that you try and complete everything in one go. The idea of this game, by the sounds of it, is to get you to have multiple playthroughs to see what can happen if you make different decisions. The game 100% seems to be really grounded in choice and moral ambiguity, and all of that is tied to the fact that there is a time limit to finish the main story. Now, when I say that, it's not like a hard time limit where you've got to finish this game in 10 hours or whatever, but when you hit certain story points, the time will move on, and essentially you will run out of time skips eventually, do you know what I mean? And that will take you to the end of the game. So the end of the game, whatever that's going to be, is going to be built by the decisions and the things you do in the time leading up to that game, and it is impossible for you to do everything. Outside of the game's very interesting premise, I'm not going to lie, the combat looks absolutely awesome. They've already taken some fan feedback you can see from the first trailer that came out to the more recent ones that have been released. They've refined everything and cleaned it up a little bit. The voice acting looks really good. The graphics are absolutely stunning. The world looks great. The cities look absolutely gorgeous. And like I say, it's just littered with choice and options. One thing in particular for me about this game that is really, really excellent is the music, which I will be honest, sounds just like the music from The Witcher 3. So I wouldn't be surprised to find out if the musical director is from The Witcher 3 as well. But either way, they've taken a lot of inspiration for the sound from that game, and it just sounds phenomenal, and overall the game looks great. So this is it, the last two. Number 2, and this was a hard one, is Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection. That game is coming out on March the 13th on PS5, Xbox, PC and Switch 2. It's made by Capcom, who make every game under the sun. We already know about Capcom. Devil May Cry, Street Fighter. Do you know what I mean? They just make so many good games. I love the first 2 Monster Hunter Story games, and if you have watched my channel before, you've probably watched a few of my videos that pertain to monster catching games in general. I've done a couple of... I played Digimon Story Time Stranger. I've done a video about Pokemon. I did a video, 10 other monster taming games to play, and I really like this genre. Where this genre generally, up until recently, has always been lacking is production quality, right? That for me really started to turn around with Digimon Time Stranger, and I'm not going to lie to you, it looks like it's leveled up even more with Monster Hunter Story 3. The graphics in this game are stunning. They've just released a demo for it, which I've played. It's absolutely phenomenal. So far the combat seems to be the same, but oh man, the world is huge and really, really open. Like from the off in the demo at least, you get your dragon, you can fly around, you can switch between different monsters to reach different parts of the map. Combat is turn-based combat. It is not your average turn-based combat. It's got some really interesting systems in it, but they look like they haven't deviated too much from the original 2 games in that respect. But like I say, man, the thing that's got me excited about this game is the production quality, right? Digimon Story Time Stranger had that as well, but it's a small thing. What it didn't have was 60 FPS. Time Stranger was locked to 30 FPS, and fortunately, Monster Hunter Stories is not. If the demo is anything to go by, it looks phenomenal. It plays really, really well. The voice acting is great. The music is great. The monster designs look absolutely fantastic when really ramped up. Ultimately, the thing that held this game back was the systems it was developed on. The first Monster Hunter Stories was a 3DS game. The second Monster Hunter Stories was a Switch game, and it did eventually come out on the PlayStation and the Xbox as well, but it originally just came out on the Switch. This game is coming out on all platforms at the same time, and because the Switch 2 has leveled up so much, it allows to make a much higher quality game to release on all systems, and mate, I'm really, really, really excited for this one. It looks so good. And that takes us to number 1, and you've probably guessed it, it is Crimson Desert. Oh, mate, Crimson Desert, mate. Pearl Abyss, man. Pearl Abyss. They are absolutely killing it as far as I'm concerned. Now, there are people are so excited for this game, right? Some people are convinced there's going to be something wrong with it. Maybe you're right, man. I'm not so much of a conspiracy theorist when it comes down to all of that, and I am just throwing myself behind this game, absolutely expecting it to be phenomenal. This game is a love letter to some of the great RPGs. It's got Witcher code, it's got Zelda Breath of the Wild code, it's got even some Assassin's Creed code. It has got so much going for it. And this is the reason that people are so unsure whether it's going to work, right? Because it's literally got everything, man. It's got amazing combat. It's got multiple characters. It's got a world that's twice as big as Skyrim. It's got a fully voiced written main character a la The Witcher. It's got an enormous story. It's got floating islands. It's got flying dragons. It's got robots. It's got everything. And also it's got some of the little things. It's got fishing. It's got, you know, I saw a little clip from one of the trailers where you're just driving a dude's cart for him because he's a bit tired or whatever. So it looks like it's going to be action-packed, bombastic gameplay, and it's also going to let you chill out and just enjoy the world as and when you want to. It's an ambitious game, man. It is an absolutely ambitious game, and I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't been this excited for an RPG in a really, really long time. For me, generations are kind of defined by one game in the RPG space, right? Like, for me, like going back to the PS2, it was Final Fantasy X. In the PS3 era, it was Skyrim. In the PS4 era, it was The Witcher 3. In the crossover between the PS4 and the PS5, because the generations have started going on a bit longer, it was Elden Ring. And for the definitive PS5 experience, for me so far, Crimson Desert looks like it is the one. If it weren't for GTA 6 coming out this year, I think we'd be looking at Game of the Year, like, almost hands down, man. And I'll temper that a little bit because obviously the game has to come out and we have to see if it runs well and if its ambition is backed by, you know, being a together product rather than just being like a chaotic mess that lets you do everything but doesn't join it all together very well. The big question that gamers are asking, and when I say asking, I mean every single time I see a video about this game, the comments are littered with people saying, God, I hope it's optimized. Please let it be optimized. Please let it be optimized. There's a lot of reasons to think that it might be because they're using their own proprietary engine rather than working with Unreal 5, which is where a lot of these optimization issues seem to come from. But mate, this game, man, it just looks special, man. It just looks special. And not even just special, like it looks like an actual proper next level RPG. In the same way, so for me, it's a little bit like Ghost of Tsushima, right? Ghost of Tsushima was an absolutely stunning, amazing game. And it was a love letter to its inspirations. Rather than being the most original thing you ever played, it took a lot of the games that, you know, like Assassin's Creed and a little bit of The Witcher and this and that and the other, and kind of brought them together in a newish sort of package. It was familiar but new at the same time. I expect a similar experience with Crimson Desert, albeit by the looks of things a much, much bigger one. This game's had a crazy development cycle as well. So obviously Pearl Abyss were best known for making Black Desert Online, which is an MMORPG. I did play it, but I'll level, I'm just not an MMORPG guy. It's just really not my kind of thing. But somewhere through the development, they just decided, you know what? We're not going to make it an MMORPG. We're just going to hunker down and turn this into a massive, enormous, single-player focused game. And when I saw the first trailer for it, which must have been 2018, 2019, I don't even remember, man, but it feels like a really, really long time ago. It's 100% over half a decade I've been waiting for this game. And they keep releasing new videos for it. One was about Cliff and the world of Pywell. The next one's about combat and progression. And every single time I see something about this game, man, it just keeps getting better and better and better. And my jaw keeps getting closer to the floor. So that's it, guys. That is my list of 10 massive RPGs that are coming out this year. A real range of quality here as well. Don't get me wrong. Like Avowed, yeah, the game's already out and it's not reviewed really well, but ultimately I like this kind of game, and I'm not like, for instance, I really enjoyed Rise of the Ronin, which was not a stellar game. It was like, again, a 6 or 7 out of 10, but I really enjoyed it just because it was fun to play. And then we rolled through to things like Blood of the Dawnwalker, which feels like it's going to be ultimately quite a fresh experience with a very different take on the open world RPG genre, and an absolute heavyweight with something like Crimson Desert. Mate, 2026 is going to pop off for RPG fans. Nice one, guys. If you've made it to this point in the video, thanks very much for sticking around, and hit me with a like and a subscribe. I haven't made a video for this channel in a minute because I've been focusing on my other channel, which I actually have monetized, but I really want to work on this one as well. So if you happen to be a football fan, by the way, and you happen to be a supporter of Chelsea FC, then check out my other channel, the Stanford Sync. I'll pop a link to it in the description. But if you're just here for the video game stuff, give me a like, give me a subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments, and we will just talk about it. What do you think about the games that I've put on this list? Do you think I've missed out anything in particular? I would love to know what you think. Awesome, guys. I hope you're having an absolutely wicked day, and I will catch up with you very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.